Hello, everyone. Or normally I say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I don't know why I didn't say my usual skit there. I don't know. Something's gone wrong here for me there. But hello, everyone. How are you guys all doing? I hope you guys are all doing well. Welcome to another Eco Flake show. It's not, but Regan, it's not Thursday. You're right. It's not Thursday. It's a Wednesday. It's a bit of an odd day. But we was scheduled to do one 2 weeks ago. But of course, I wasn't feeling. I can't remember what it was. I think I was feeling really bad under the weather or something. Yeah, it was a really bad headache. Not as bad as the one I had this weekend, but I just kind of, I think it was so bad. I just don't think it was worth the risk at the time. But I didn't want us to miss out on doing one for this month because I do want to do at least once a month for. Not just for Pagan, but for you guys there, because I do think these are important discussions, of course. So I'm very glad that we're able to get it in right at the end of this month as well. So delighted for that. And also, I've already said to Pagan, but I'll let you guys know as well. I'll remind you at the end of the live stream. I'm going to Pagan joining us for the roundtable next month. So I know we haven't had Pagan on for a while. So I've got one other person, and I'm trying to get hear back from as well, and we'll because I want to try and shuffle it up a little bit for the next round table there. Richard, good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. I can see, yeah. So if you guys noticed, I've upgraded StreamYard for just 1 month here, and there it's got this option which is very nice where you can show the comments on the stage, which is kind of nice there. So hopefully it's not too much in the way of Pagan there, and you guys can see the comments there. I did set the fonts to large, so hopefully you guys should see that all right there. Pagan, how are you doing, my friend?
Not about freaks, love and blessings. Freaks, love and blessings. It's been interesting. The different news coming out, and like you see with American news and and it's getting worse and whatnot. But then you look over here, and there's some good news when it comes to environmental news and whatnot. And in Europe. So it's like mixed roundabouts. A bit of a toothache myself. One of my front teeth broke. So I was a bit iffy on whether or not I was going to continue to do my channel. And then I was like, no, fuck it. My teeth were breaking anyway, so we carry on.
Sorry, Pagan. I don't know if it's you or me, but it's really, really, you're very pixelated, and I'm barely hearing most of what's coming through your side there. I don't know if that's coming from my end or yours since I've gone live. If anyone in the chat just wants to confirm if it's just me, because it's definitely quite, yeah, because I could barely hear anything you were saying, my friend. Let me just check the stream's health from my end. It says the stream is healthy on my end there.
I've got full signal here. Oh, come on.
No, unless
what the hell? I got a new PC and everything.
It might be StreamYard, possibly. Okay, looks like it's... Yeah, you barely move on my screen, which is very concerning indeed. That's not good. That's very worrying.
It comes up perfectly when I look at this. When I see myself on the stream, it comes up perfect. But then I go to the live stream on YouTube, and it's not.
If anyone's watching, can they just confirm on their end? Because I know there's people watching right now. I need some people just to confirm. There, Jao, good to see you there, buddy. Can you just tell me if you can see both of us and hear both of us clearly? Because nobody's responding at the moment. I just need to check before we get going. Am I coming across as glitchy? Yeah, because for me it is. So you're saying it's all good to you? Okay. Yeah, because I don't know why. From my end, it's a bit. I'm seeing Pagan a bit. Okay, Pagan seems to have cleared up now a little bit there. So it's a bit.
So if I leave it on bright screen, it should work.
Cross fingers, it should be all right there. I'm not sure what it is.
It's just I switched. I don't know if it's because I switched over to the YouTube stream for a second just to check the whole chat, and because it went dark and then went bright again as I came back to the StreamYard thing. So
I don't know if it's anything to do with the comments on stage. Maybe I'll take that off. Maybe that might help. I'm not sure.
Even when weird. It comes up fine when I like on the StreamYard thing, I'm coming up crystal clear.
Yeah, I'm not sure why it's a bit pixelated for me there. It might have something to do with my internet there. Well, hopefully, as long as you guys can hear us both, I suppose that's really the main thing. I suppose. Hopefully, we won't have too much of that issue here. Jenny, good to see you there. Impersonator. Let's hope this. Let's hope that issue at the start goes away. So we'll start with basically. Well, unfortunately, it's don't really want to talk about reform, but we have to talk about reform because it does involve our beloved environment. It does involve climate as well, guys. Let me make sure I've got the right screen there. Let me see if you guys can see that one there. Whoop, there. So I don't know how this there. I'll just try that. See how that goes there. Hopefully you guys can hear us. Any problems, just let us know in the comments, guys. So the headline, obviously, from this first story from The Guardian here is that Reform Russia, not Reform UK, of course, as mayor candidate courted US oil and gas executives about fracking in the UK. So the exclusive reveals that the documents show Andrea Jenkins asked how she could help the firm of the major gas find in Lincolnshire. So this is basically pretty much a deliberate attempt to appease to their US masters here, to try and basically how can we bring more money and profit, basically, at the expense of not just at the expense of the British public, because and expense of Lincolnshire and its local people, but also the damage to the environment on top of all that. So not only do they want to frack in Lincolnshire, which by the way I think is I think fracking is a completely
Fracking was unpopular here in the UK when it was brought up, and in the last decade when the Tories were fucking in charge. I'm pretty sure that even amongst the Tories it was unpopular for quite a while.
Yes, it is, but obviously this obviously shows that where they basically shows their true colours.
It also shows that they are not in tune with their voting base, because their vote, and in fact, a lot of reform voters or people who say they vote reform actually do like the actually like green energy. So it's like
it seems. It seems some of the polling seems to indicate that reform voters, even though they're supporting reform, they don't actually know, apart from immigration, what their policies are, which seems to be the thing that kind of sticks out the most with me when you think about when you look at what they're introducing. But a lot of people don't really read into the policies, even though it's quite clearly on their websites what they are.
More and more, the evil is being made obvious because, as I expected, reforms. Referee's fucking polling has started to dip, as I fucking suspected.
Yeah, there's been a slight dip in the polling, but they're still well ahead. Cross fingers, obviously, we'll see that. Cross fingers.
I can see it continuing to go down, especially now that Richard Tice has openly said they want to get rid of the Employment and Renters' Rights Bill. So yeah. Like, because a lot of people are for that. A lot of reform zone voters are for those policies.
So, how realistic is this? How realistic is this, Pagan? For fracking to be done in the UK? Like, let's say hypothetically, reform does get into government. Would then there be a lot of like red tape and barriers for them to be able to even approve the fracking, even if they wanted to?
If they wanted to do it, they'd have to brute force it, I reckon, and even then they'd have a lot of pushback from the countryside voters, which would have voted for them in the first place, thinking they're the replacement for the Tories. I mean, they are the replacement for the Tories, and you know that what countryside people are like in not voting in their own, in their own interests, even though they think they are. So, I know, as someone who lives in a countryside fucking constituency, it is not it is not a popular thing. So I mean, she's not
For
going
those
to
who
get
don't know, Pagan, why is fracking unpopular? Why is it so unpopular for those who don't know?
Shale gas fracking is where they look for gas within shale deposits within the earth, and to do that, they have to crack it open, causing earthquakes, which also releases more CO2 into the and other gases into the atmosphere. But largely, when it comes to the average voter, what they care about is the noise it fucking makes and the earthquakes it makes.
So do people? I mean, do we actually have any fracking at all in the UK?
No, it's banned. The
Right, so we don't
Tories
have
banned it. The Tories banned it.
Have we ever had fracking in the UK at all? I don't think we. I don't recall.
Think there might have been a couple of experiments, but
okay.
Like again, again, there were. I think there were a couple of experiments, but because of the damage and the noise it was making, people were like no, and then even the Tories ended up having to ban it. And
right, there was too much pushback.
Yeah, like it's hilarious. Like if she thinks she's going to get this if she's going to think she's going to get this in because she's mayor, whilst Labour government, it's not going to happen. Ed Miliband's not going to let it happen. I know a lot of people have lost faith in the Labour government, and in many ways I get why. But Ed Miliband is someone I have consistently had faith in, and he's told that, like, you know, the Department of Energy has basically told her to go do one.
So, Lincolnshire's Reform Party Mayor, Dame... Oh, my God, why is she a dame? Andrea Jenkins has courted the head of an American oil and gas dynasty in the hope of bringing fracking to the country, The Guardian has revealed. So, Egdon Resources, a British subsidy of the US fracking, Hayco Energy, announced a major gas discovery in Lincolnshire's Gainsborough Trough last year. And Jenkins, who became the first mayor of Greater Lincolnshire in May, reached out personally to the company asking how she could help with your recent gas find in my country. According to records released by in my county, according to records released by the mayoral authority in response to a Freedom of Information request. So it wasn't even so basically, according to the Freedom of Information request, was it them looking at this, or was this her reaching out to them saying, "Hey, can you guys have a look at this for me?"
Yeah,
I'm not sure which.
She's just like, no, look, they did it there, and without them even having to ask, she's like, "Oh, we can do that for you," even though Ed Miliband's not going to fucking have any of it.
So fracking was effectively banned in England in 2019 because of concerns it could trigger earthquakes. But Jenkins is keen to bring the practice to Lincolnshire, and appears to have met fracking companies at least 4 times since she first contacted Egon in June. I wonder if she's taken any, I don't know, donations or gifts of any sorts, from them. Awesome. I wonder if there's any in her records. What do you guys think?
Do you remember when we read that story a while back about Ed Miliband being bugged by 2 to 3 times as many oil and gas companies, by the oil and gas companies, 2 to 3 times as much as the Tories?
And I remember
I wonder if this is part of it. Because
I remember you were saying that this is because they weren't getting what they wanted.
Like she says to the companies, "Oh, we'll do it." So then the then the companies go to the government. "Oh, this county mayor says she do it," and Ed Miliband's going, "No," repeatedly.
So, in a presentation marked confidential. Oh, that was very confidential. Yeah, because we're reading it right now. Hayco downplayed concerns about toxic chemicals found in fracking fluid. Oh, there's nothing to be said here. Obviously, that's what they would say. It also shared a list of rebuttals to key criticisms of fracking and its benefits over renewable forms of energy, which was tailored to the Gainsborough Trout project. The documents obtained by the Guardian.
What benefits?
Benefits to their bank accounts and their shareholders, Pagan, and stocks. It will help the Dow and the FTSE.
Be up to 100,000 instead of 50,000.
The FTSE is up. That's what it's going to do. It's going to improve the FTSE, apparently. Oh, dear. Jenkins said she was very supportive of fracking in a message asking how she could help the company, and said to Egon's general inbox in June last year. The company's CEO, Mark Abbott, responded 11 minutes later, offering to meet her to discuss the potential for gas in Lincolnshire and the surrounding area.
It's not even just Lincolnshire. They're looking at fucking the surrounding area as well. Like, I've only been up that way a couple of times myself, right? Being on the ass end of the country down here. However, I do know it's like there is some beautiful land up there. No, we don't want fucking fracking up there either.
But the resources, it could improve the Dow.
It took a lot. It took Ed Miliband a lot just to be practical and say, look, we're going to keep some of the reserves for gas open with what's left, but we're not going to try and open any more. Right? This is why he's completely like turned around and said no to this fracking bullshit.
And Jenkins is a staunch critic of net zero who has described the concept as a con and lodged several objections to energy projects such as solar farms and pylons in Lincolnshire. Does she have any solar panels on her homes at all? Does anyone know? Answers on a postcard, please. Egon's owner, George Yates, is a Trump donor and a member of a century-old New Mexico oil and gas dynasty with strong links to the Republican Party. Anyone surprised? I think not. Yep, shocking news. He has previously described net zero as a pseudo-scientific approach to reducing carbon emissions and falsely blamed the UK's high energy prices on the government's climate policies. What?
Methinks one doth protest too much on the on this pseudo-scientific approach. Methinks you are going for the pseudo-scientific approach, you wankers.
An email from Abbott to Jenkins and other great Lincolnshire County officials after the meeting said the group discussed the potential of shale gas in the Gainsborough Trout and how to build support for its development. Yeah, how can we bribe the people of Lincolnshire into doing this? Yeah, they're not stupid. Like they're not going to vote for it. The existence of the bill.
Voters actively did. The reason why the MPs didn't want this is because they were being told by their voters that this was not wanted.
Yep. So what they're going to do is they're going to distract people to gain power and not mention it to anyone. That's their plan.
Yeah, but they're open. The thing is they're fucking being completely. I mean, look at Richard Tice earlier with the employment rights and renters' rights. They're being open with it.
Yeah.
This would be scarier if they were being more secretive, but this is as bad as the fucking Trump admin's signal leaks.
Yeah, the signal leaks, yeah. The existence of the field has been known for more than a decade. The email also includes a list of next steps from the meeting. Abbott said that he would explore the possibility of a visit to a US shale operation for the group and help set up a meeting with Yates and his daughter Lauren when they were next in the UK. In a video posted to Facebook on the same day as their meeting with Abbott, Jenkins praised the gas finding, calling it a no-brainer. Yeah. Well, I wonder, are you going to live right by the facility, Andrea? If they set one up, are you gonna literally live on the site yourself? You know, are you going to live in the area, or are you just going to, I don't know, fly off to Dubai or something like a lot of other people do? Just saying. Jenkins and her officials met Yates in October last year, during which the American oil executive presented Egon's analysis of a potential positive impacts of shale gas development for Lincolnshire, the document showed. Potential positive impacts, guys. So it says potential. It's not even saying positive impacts. Potential positive impacts
of green energy. We know the benefits of green energy. This is just potential, and it's not even a potential. It's lies.
Jenkins then again met Egon's parent company in December, at which they discussed energy in Lincolnshire, according to a post on her X account. Fracking remains highly controversial in the UK, with 51% opposed to the practice, according to polling. Even reform-led.
I will say that is an undercount. Because do remember with polls, it's only a minority. It's only a small group of people that's asked, and we know from the last decade what the British people, not just English people, but British peoples as a whole, opinion is on fracking, and it's a lot more. I'd say it's a lot more than 51% opposed.
Yeah, I think that it's a lot higher than that, to be fair there. Mr. E and Stephen Morn, good evening to you both. Hope you guys are doing well. Richard Davis, the Conservative group leader at Lincolnshire County Council, says fracking was extremely controversial in Lincolnshire. Yeah, why am I not surprised by that? I think the overwhelming sense from most people who live and work here is what's the truth behind the marketing spin? Davis says, what are the risks? What are the bonuses? What are the environmental impacts?
That's
What
coming from a fucking Tory. That's
The
coming from a
bonuses.
fucking Tory.
There's no bonus coming to the people of Lincolnshire. It's not like here's the thing, right? It's not like it's going to give a boom to their local economy.
Yeah,
the
but
only benefit it might make is create a few jobs. That's about it locally. But you're not going to get any financial benefit from having it in the area anyway.
But Reagan, the point that the fact that a fucking Tory is even questioning it is important. It actually does.
We know that they've changed their policies on that stuff because they've got bought in by these companies because they have no money because they got their arse handed to them at the last general election.
These questions evidently show that Tories still have questions about fracking. They don't trust fracking. That's hence these. What's the truth behind the marketing spin? That's not a positive question. That's a negative question.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, but that's coming from a Tory. Even the Tories are fucking doubtful. A lot of Tories are doubtful of this, as they still are.
Spokesperson for the Department of Energy, Security and Net Zero says, we intend to ban fracking for good and make Britain a clean energy superpower to protect current and future generations. There is also maintained links with the climate skeptical Global Warming Policy Foundation. What a surprise. There's a link there. In 2022, he hosted director and co-founder Benny Peasler and its head of its American firm, Francis Menton, at the Dallas Plutonium Club. The pair delivered a lecture characterizing Europe's net zero agenda as a major threat that incentivizes Putin's energy war. It's just a desperate attempt for them to hold on to power and money and influence over politicians. That's generally what it is there. Richard said in most sites in the southeast were in AONBs and even one on the South Downs National Park there. Richard says there.
So it's just, it's insane. Like there might be, the point is to leave the gas in the fucking ground because we don't need it anymore.
Yep. But in February 2025, Yates spoke at the first Lincolnshire Energy Conference. His presentation obtained by The Guardian reveals how the fracking executives sought to blame the high energy prices on the UK's efforts to tackle climate change when they were actually driven by a global spike in natural gas prices.
Yes.
Yeah. And this is so important for people to understand that this does not reduce energy bills. This will not make our lives better in any way, shape, or form. Like they're going to make up a lot of misinformation to justify fracking, to justify more oil and gas drilling, to make it say, look, if we invest more in this stuff, we'll actually save more money without providing any real context or facts into doing it, and to trying to spin it in such a way that people will buy into it and believe it.
I understand that Ed Miliband is wanting to move us, like get our energy prices off the gas standard. But from what I can understand, it is not as simple as many people would like it to be. So he's having a whale of a time trying to get it through, like trying to come up with a feasible idea of how to do it in a way that won't screw with the economy at the same time, because it will.
Yeah,
you're fucking around, like it still makes up a portion of our income when it comes, income and outflow. So it will affect the economy. So what Ed Miliband is having to do, because of because of number 11, Ed Miliband's having to try and think of a way to do this without
trying to keep Reeves happy, trying to keep Rachel Reeves happy while at the same time continue the transition.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like Rachel Reeves is against the green transition either, because she's not. She is, however, worried. Well, again, given the Tories like bankrupted this country when it came to the state of the finances when Labour took over, like when you look at the economy now we're actually looking at positive numbers for our economy. So it seems that at least some of the stuff that Reeves has done has actually done some good.
Jenkins and other reform officials have opposed local renewable energy schemes, including efforts to scale back a community solar scheme providing energy to a fire station and leisure centre.
Even though people in the fire station and the leisure centre wanted them.
And it would save them money in the long term as well. Prior to Jenkins' election, the Great Lincolnshire Authority had applied for funding from the government's Mayoral Renewables Fund to install solar panels and batteries on council buildings, including a fire station and local leisure centre with intensive energy requirements. The aim was to deliver savings on building running costs, freeing up money for other public services. But a day after the first meeting of Egon, Jenkins and Lincolnshire County Council Reform leader Sean Matthews opposed the project in a closed meeting. Jenkins cited safety concerns, it was cited, referencing unsustained reports of battery-related fires. Sources who acknowledged that the situation said that no safety risk had previously been raised. Yeah, it's almost as if she made it up as an excuse to.
Oh my God! I'm so pissed.
Yeah,
I mean, again, the one thing that I like about this report is the fact that basically Ed Miliband has told her to go fucking do one.
The authority has been offered £602,000 from the fund, but requires mayoral approval to accept it. To avoid returning the money, board members suggested alternative proposals to the mayor, including removing the batteries from the project, according to a councillor who spoke on conditional autonomy. If it was up to the mayor, she would say, let me just take the money and I'll look after it rather than spend it on renewables. That's what she would want.
This is what I mean, though, by they will have trouble in trying to brute force their anti green energy agenda through if reform government do come in. There are still going to, just like in America, Trump has not had the clean sweep that he's wanted of overruling everything. There have been pushbacks the entire time. It's just they tried to hide that fact. It's the same fucking shit here.
A revised funding application letter asked for £430,000, a third less than originally offered by the central government. The document obtained via the Freedom of Information request and noted that without on-site batteries, there would be no capacity to store excess energy for later use or export it back to the grid. In an email update to council leaders, also obtained by The Guardian, an official said removing the batteries have resulted in fewer solar panels and therefore a reduction in energy capacity and operating savings. Despite this, Jenkins framed the outcome as a win and told followers on X that she was delivering on a campaign promise to push back on net zero and government waste. She's literally producing government waste.
She was part of the government that wasted fucking hundreds of billions of pounds. She was part of the governments that wasted billions of pounds on bullshit immigration policies and siphoning the money off.
There's a great poster around Galton Denton by-election calling it conformed, and it has basically all the ex-conservatives with reform in it, basically telling people they're literally the same people, which I think is a very good message there. Mel, good to see you there, lurking in the chat there. A month later, Matthews and Jenkins launched Lincolnshire's opposes renewable ISOR, LORE, an anti-renewable campaign organised with Tice. And in her speech, Jenkins echoed Egon's claims about the benefits of fracking the Grainsborough Trout. In her speech, she also pledged to equip Lincolnshire residents with the skills to drill, baby drill under a future reform government.
She wants.
If only she knew she wasn't living in Texas,
She wants to mar our green and pleasant land, as the Conservatives would love to put it. I mean, especially down here, it is green and pleasant land, and I know places in Lincolnshire that are green and pleasant. And what she wants to do is put a load of fucking holes in it and make a load of fucking earthquakes. Bitch.
Yes, she does. The next day, Matthews and several other reform councillors visited the onshore oil and gas firm Star Energy's head office in Walton and toured several of its production facilities, according to emails obtained by The Guardian. The company holds several fracking licenses in Lincolnshire, including a number in Gainsborough Trout area. What a coincidence! They're just obsessed with this stuff. So almost again, there's definitely money being handed over there. Let's just be as clear as we can be here. Afterwards, Lincolnshire County Council's deputy leader, Rob Gibson, puts Star Energy in touch with the mayor's office. In a video shared to the mayor's social media channels a month later, Jenkins announced her own visit to Star Energy's Lincolnshire sites, declaring it's time to ditch net zero. I mean, based on what? You got nothing to there. Let me just finish this last bit up. According to response from the Revelations, Yates says, I met with people from many and varied views on all the matters. I'm a long-standing Republican supporter, always open and transparent in my political donations as required by US law. We look to engage with policymakers and politicians of all persuasions to make the case for indigenous resources. We have a clear security of supply, economic, environmental benefits compared to increasing reliance on imports. Jenkins and Great Lincolnshire Council representatives did not respond to a request for comment. Just for the reference there as well.
There are no environmental benefits to fracking, like none. And not only that, what pisses me off is this, like Labour is actually, you know, whilst they've been disappointing in some in a number of areas when it comes to nature restoration front, what they have done at least one of the things that they promised to do, which I was adamant that them do from before the election, which is more funding for the Badger vaccine program and more resources for them, and that's exactly what they've done. And the problem with fracking is because of the earthquakes, it disrupts the fucking badgers.
Yeah, so people forget it's not like it's not just environment, it's wildlife, it's plants, it's literally
that is the environment. Like that is the environment. Like
it's also infrastructure, homes, schools.
Yeah. What if it makes the foundations of houses unstable, for fuck's sake? Because even though we do get hundreds of micro earthquakes across the country every day, we get nothing like say America gets. Our houses are not built to survive earthquakes. And they want to make earthquakes. Fucking
all for money, guys. All for money. I know, it's just infuriating. Moving, I just want to move across the pond with this interesting story I saw also from The Guardian here. I don't know how much you've looked at it, but I thought it was worth sharing because it's outside the UK here. It's something that Germany are kind of doing here, and I thought this was one worth looking into as well here. And the headline is Germany is accused of ditching climate targets as it scraps renewables mandate. So the coalition government agrees to remove parts of controversial laws and allow homes to rely on fossil fuels.
Oh my God.
Sorry, before you just say anything, I just want to say thank you, Steve McMahon, for the 20 New Zealand. Thank you so much for the 20 New Zealand dollars. That's very generous of you, my friend. Thank you so much for your support. Really appreciate that. Thank you. That's very kind of you. Really appreciate that. So I think this is definitely politics being played here in Germany, without a shadow of a doubt. There's no doubt that obviously since the war in Ukraine, their economy has suffered immeasurably because they relied a lot on gas from Russia. Correct me if I'm wrong in that, Pagan. I'm pretty sure that was the case. And obviously they've been trying to look for alternatives to move away from that there.
The Greens did not help. I'm sorry, but the Green Party in Germany did not fucking help the situation by going, no nuclear. Are you fucking stupid? And lo and behold, we're now at this situation. Germany's now at this situation because the Greens thought that nuclear energy was the most dangerous thing in the fucking world, when it is not. I'm an environmentalist, but even I recognize the value in nuclear energy. And not only that, but nuclear energy is far safer than flying in a damn airplane, which, as we know, is actually less dangerous than, say, being killed by a cow in this country. So when you actually weigh up the dangers, nuclear energy is not that dangerous. Because
if it's managed and secured all right, then yes, you're not going to have it.
Germany, we're talking about Germany. They are masters at engineering. Yeah. The Green Party, fuck it, they are at least in part, and I'm not talking about, don't get me wrong, this is not connected to Zach Plansk or anything like that. The German Green Party.
Yeah, but they're opposed to nuclear energy as well, to be fair, which I don't really agree with as well.
No.
To be fair.
See, that's another reason why another point where I have arguments with the Greens. Like it's part of their whole NIMBY bullshit. But like again, there's so much misunderstanding about nuclear energy because of fucking Chernobyl. That was the USSR. The USSR destroyed the Aral Sea because they were no good at fucking environment stuff. We're not talking about the USSR. We're talking about the West, and we actually do nuclear technology pretty damn well.
So what do Germany do? They're just turning the fossil fuels in this situation here. Let's read a bit more into this there. Sass, good to see you there. I hope you're doing well. So Germany's coalition government has been accused of abandoning its climate targets after agreeing to scrap parts, that's the key word, parts, of a contagious heating law mandating the use of renewables in favor of a draft law allowing homeowners to rely on fossil fuels. So while the previous law required most newly installed heating systems to use at least 65% renewable energies, often with a heat pump, the amended legislation will allow households to keep using oil and gas. It also removes a mandate for expert consultations when installing a new heating system.
What?
The previous legislation, yeah. So
how is this? This is part of the undermining by the fucking social conservatives and right wing bastards. Let's take away the expert consultation when installing to undermine the program. Fucking bastards. Sorry.
The previous legislation drawn up by the Greens. No, you're fine. Drawn up by the Greens and passed in 2023 was seen as one of the party's boldest policy goals in the previous centre-left led government. But although climate experts praise its ambitious targets, the legislation antagonized voters still bruised by the COVID-19 pandemic and were worried about energy supply after the war in Ukraine led to Russia's gas imports being halted and inflation rising. Now,
which they wouldn't have been if they hadn't
I will say, obviously, building nuclear energy does.
Look at France. I'm sorry.
When did they ban nuclear energy? Do you know? When did Germany ban nuclear energy? Just have a look. Yeah, just out of curiosity. Well, how long has it been since they banned nuclear energy? I'm assuming this was long before. I'm assuming this was before the war in Ukraine that they had done that. Would have thought so.
Germany officially completed its phase out of nuclear power on April 15th, 2023. Yeah, well done, Green Party of Germany. Well fucking done. Like, they are good on other, like, you know, this program that, you know, for heat pumps and stuff would have been great if they had it backed up with, again, look at France. I know France is hard, like, it isn't perfect, but they haven't had to rely on Russian energy because they didn't fucking freak out about nuclear.
They give us energy. Never mind give themselves energy.
They export it. It's the stupidity. I'm sorry, but this was stupidity from the Greens through ideology. This is why I'm not ideologically pure, right? When it comes to environment, because I know that practicality is also important, and nuclear energy will continue to be important. The Green Party really screwed up here.
So the top selling newspaper.
I'm not talking about the UK Green Party, the Germans.
In this regard here, yeah. But yeah. Anyways, we'll discuss I'm sure we'll discuss we'll discuss them next month. I'm sure at the round table anyway. So
it started in 2011. The Germans pulled back from nuclear started in 2011.
So that's when they passed the law and made the decision to do that.
That's when they started pulling away from it, and then they finally completed its phase out April the 15th, 2 years ago.
And during that period between then and now as well, before the war in Ukraine, they were expanding their pipelines as well with Russia as well. So they were going in the wrong direction as well as reducing their nuclear energy.
This is why I'm worried about the Green Party in the UK. Because if they have the same ideas about your nuclear energy, it worries the fuck out of me. I'm sorry, but it does.
Trump was right about Germany.
He kind of was. I hate to say it.
He was, and I hate that saying that. He kind of was. They mocked him when they met him. He had the last laugh, I'm afraid, guys. I hate saying that, but you know, we're not going to bullshit you guys
I mean,
with our
like you said,
views.
the German Greens and you know the heat pump idea, that's brilliant. But
Yeah.
they fucked it because they ended up having to ended up having to rely on gas and fucking oil from Russia.
And now they're supposed to be reducing it, and it's like, where the hell do we get our gas from? And
they need to do deals with South Korea to get these small modular reactors in.
The top-selling newspaper, Bild, ran weeks of negative headlines against Halbert's heating hammer, referring to the legislation's author Robert Habeck of the Green Party, and then the Vice Chancellor and the Economy Minister. The disputed poisoned relations in the coalition of the Social Democrats, Greens, and pro-business Free Democrats, and is often called the beginning of the premature implosion of that government. The far-right climate skeptic alternative for Deutschland Party. Thank you. Party, the AfD, sorry, yes, I should just call them that. Party raged against the 2023 law, in particular its promotion of heat pumps, attacking the Greens for forcing households to make expensive renewables and taking away their freedom to choose. Yeah, because everyone needs to have a choice.
I mean, they did take away their freedom to choose by removing nuclear energy. They were forced to use gas and oil.
Nuclear energy they should never have turned their backs on nuclear energy in that situation. Really, the new rules eliminating key planks of that law makes good on a promise of Biden, now Chancellor, the Conservative Friedrich Merz, during the election campaign a year ago, and comes after weeks of wrangling with junior coalition partners, the SPD. Merz's Christian Democratic Union, the CDU, insists the change will uphold the goal of cutting CO2 emissions from buildings, one of the top sources of planet-warming pollutions, while giving homeowners more choice as to which technology to use. But the Greens, now in the opposition and polling at about 12% naturally, denounced the new legislation as putting climate benchmarks in jeopardy. Quote, the CDU and SPD have made it abundantly clear today. Let me finish, please. Made it abundantly clear today that climate protection is of no importance whatsoever to this coalition, said the Greens parliamentary group's co-leader. The federal government has abandoned its climate targets, they claim. Which, by the way, they're the ones.
Be a problem. I'm sorry, but like, whilst I'm okay, ideologically speaking, I am more aligned with the Greens, but like.
It's just the nuclear energy problem.
If they hadn't fucking gone against nuclear energy. Again, on this, I think France had the right move.
Yeah, because they've got their nuclear energy, but they're also continuously pushing wind and solar as well, aren't they? Yeah. So they've got so much energy that they're exporting it to us, which absolutely sucks. Because we shouldn't have to import energy.
Part of the reason why we don't have so many nuclear power plants here is for the same reason as Germany, except we had this problem before Germany did. People freaked out about Chernobyl and went, "Oh no, nuclear energy is dangerous." That was the USSR.
Yeah,
fuck's sake.
Scott Hayes, good to see you there lurking in chat. Hope you're doing well. The bill foresees ramping up the share of relative climate-friendly fossil fuels at a minimum rate of 10% by 2029, progressively increasing until 2040. Germany has pledged to hit net zero emissions by 2045. I'm going to be honest. It's a big target to hit between 2045. And a lot can happen. But
Labour's is more ambitious, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, these net zero emission targets, they're very I am scared. The closer we get to these targets, the more I'm skeptical of them, because I just feel like too much politics is going to get in the way of them. You know,
I mean, there is a point to them.
Really?
I mean, they're not to be all the problem. One of the things I get annoyed with when it comes to as we're saying here, these goals, is that like net zero is just a part of the goal, and many governments are treating it as if it is the goal. No. It's a goal.
Almost like a tick box exercise to say, we did this sort of thing. That's kind of how they're seeing it, rather than seeing the bigger picture.
It's more that they want to simplify it, so they want this big goal to go for, not realizing that all the other shit needs doing as well.
Yeah. The economy minister rejected criticism that the planned change would undermine climate protection. Quote, the aim of the heating law is to restore greater freedom of choice when replacing heating systems, she told the public broadcaster. She said that homeowners would have a range of possibilities for heating, including hybrid models, biomass, yes, even gas and oil heating, but with an increasing proportion of biogas or bio-oil. She said the dilemma was that Robert Habeck's heating law had unsettled homeowners, and the sale of modern heating systems, heat pumps, and modern gas boilers plummeted. People stopped building altogether, and that's not good.
It wouldn't have.
I know you've made the point.
I know.
Germany's, yeah, I know. Germany, the EU's top economy and most populous nation, as well, is its biggest polluter, still relies on oil and gas for nearly 80% of its heating, which unfortunately is a major obstacle for the country. It's just a massive obstacle for them.
Abysmal.
It is really, really bad, and they've got to get out of this hole. I don't know how much they're pushing solar and wind farms in their country. I know it's not gonna. I know, right? Like, obviously, building nuclear takes a lot of years, a long time to build.
Doesn't have to anymore. Small modular reactors.
Oh yes, your small modular reactors. Yeah, but I don't know how much they are pushing wind and solar in the country, but I hope that they are. I really hope that they are, to help at least alleviate some of this. I
know Germany has plenty of flat land where the wind just blasts across the landscape. They could have windmills up there. I mean, look at it. They get Siberian blasts coming in from Russia that with the winter coming in, and like it brings wind.
That winter storm normally freezes the wind. But sorry, because I'm not up to date, but wouldn't the blizzards and whatnot, is it likely to freeze the wind farms rather than actually run them?
It can do, but at the same time, the technologies can always continue to advance.
Okay.
And Germany, I mean, we're talking about Germany. You think Germany couldn't figure out a way to R&D their way out of that? It's Germany.
Well, that's why I'd like an answer to that.
Listen, Germany.
I'm sure they could come up with an answer. This is the Germans we're talking about here.
I'm disappointed with Germany because they do have the ingenuity.
The building and transport. Yeah, the building and transport sectors are seen as the most significant drags on Germany's progress towards its climate goals. Experts also note the scarcity of greener fuels such as biomethane on global markets is driving up their price. And heat pumps are more expensive than gas-burning boilers, but in most countries they are cheaper to run. Germany subsidizes 30 to 70% of the cost of a new heat pump, assistance that will remain in place till at least 2029 under the revised law. That's good, at least. Norway has 635 heat pumps for every 1,000 household, while Germany has 47 and the UK just 15.
Thank you, Tories. We need to. I've always said that we need to.
To be fair, Norway's a little bit more colder than us. I'm just going to point that out there, just in terms of.
Yeah, but if the Atlantic Meridian Oceanic Current, the Atlantic.
I'm not using it as an excuse. I'm just pointing out that they are more colder than us.
Like, if the Atlantic Meridian Overturning Current goes to shit, then we will be at the same temperature as Norway.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to building plenty of snowmen.
But this is really, really annoying, because again, technically, I am ideologically on board with the Greens, but they fucked up. Their messaging on nuclear energy was bullshit, and it really, they have not helped themselves. They've come up with some good policies, but those policies end up becoming controversial because they didn't prepare. Because they thought, no, we don't need nuclear energy, so we'll just rely on Russia instead. Yeah, fucking well done.
Yeah, the building of the I just the fact that this is kind of hitting them it hit them when the war happened. That it's like, yeah, you guys are relying too much on the gas, and it's just like it's only like it's only hit them now. Is kind of really really poor judgment, yeah, from
They
German
were warned
politicians.
this kind of thing. They were warned more than 10 years ago that going against nuclear was going to be a problem. I've spoken about this before on my own channel and with my family in the past when it comes to Germany and nuclear, because I'm not overly massively nuclear. When it comes to nuclear, I'm pro-nuclear fusion, but when it comes to nuclear fission, like the nuclear power that everyone knows, I'm like, yeah, it's needed. It's better than gas and oil and coal.
And here's the thing: like, there's always going to be risks, but there's risks in life anyway. So
look at the mining for the elements needed to make this green energy transition work.
Yeah, that's people don't talk about how much resources we're pouring out of Africa to build the batteries.
Scarring of the landscape that we're doing, looking for lithium.
Yep. Hence Greenland, Trump looking at Greenland.
People talk about, we don't need nuclear, we just need wind and solar. Why? Oh, because nuclear is so damaging to the environment. What about mining for the shit to get older to actually make the fucking solar panels and windows?
If we have a nuclear, unless there's a nuclear explosion, then yes. But if it does explode, which is highly unlikely.
They're extraordinarily rare. The only reason why people get is because, like, the reason why the ones that have happened have made such big noise is because they are so rare.
Yeah,
like the one in kill anyone.
And then obviously what happened in Japan, of course, was because of an earthquake, and and
then they fixed it.
I literally, actually, believe it or not, guys, I actually saw, I don't know, like me and my dad one night on our holiday, we had the TV on because it was late in the evening, and we were watching documentary about, the earthquake and the tsunami, and then the nuclear reactor going, haywire and whatnot. And it was just like a part of me was just thinking, like, why did they put it there in the first place? Considering that they're known to have earthquakes, but it was like it was very rare for them to have an earthquake like the one that they did.
When you consider the catastrophe at Fukushima and then compare it to Chernobyl, you can see that Japan's nuclear technology was far superior to that of the USSR. The USSR were bumbling idiots.
And they built a wall. But the Japanese, they built a wall so that when they had earthquakes, the tsunami would not hit it. But the earthquake was so big, the wall could not hold it.
Even then, no one fucking died.
Well, people still died from the subsequent tsunami, which was at one of the.
Yeah, no. What I mean is, but from the.
Oh, you mean from? Yeah.
No one died. USSR, people fucking died, and people are still dying due to that. So when people talk about the dangers of nuclear energy, they really need to start knowing what they're talking about, because it is not as dangerous as people seem to think it is. And when we talk about what do we do with the spent fuel rods, we can dig that really deep. I mean, where do you think we find these radioactive materials in the fucking first place?
Mm-hmm. And look, as long as the most important thing is that we, as long as things are done as safely as possible, that's the most important thing as well. And the people who do this are experts.
Unless they're in Russia, obviously.
Obviously, if they're from Russia, we don't listen to them. Anyways, let's go to the next story, guys. We're going back to England, and it's not about nuclear energy, guys, but it is something that we should. I think we kind of we've touched on this in the past as well, and it's one that we should all be very concerned about here. This story from Sky News here. And from 1 in 9 new homes in England built in flood-prone areas, the study has shows. So analysis shows 11% of new homes in England built between 2022 and 2024 are in areas at risk of flooding. And a former chairwoman of the Environment Agency has described it as a future scandal waiting to happen. Before we even say anything, Pagan, I just want to find the fact that we have a future scandal waiting to happen, which means that there's a possibility, never mind the homes that themselves could get destroyed in the communities and whatnot. There's a possibility that people could die as a result of this as well, which is also something. Which is also a thing. It's like if you've got a chairwoman of the Environment Agency describing it as a scandal waiting to happen, and you're not taking subsequent action to do that. Again, I point to this position of money should never be a factor when it comes to people's lives.
The Tories made it a problem, though.
Yeah, they did. They did. So what?
You're right. It should not be. However, the Tories have made it a problem by squandering the nation's finances.
Now, 11% is a lot of homes. That's a huge number, between 2022 and 2024.
It's largely in the southeast as well. Largely Tory constituencies.
Oh, not Lib Dem ones, or maybe Tory that gone Lib Dem.
Probably a couple, but if I remember rightly, the southeast is largely Tory.
Yeah, you can just tell. Look at this. Like you just got like, yeah.
I mean,
this is like,
I'll let you carry on before I say what I was about to say.
No, go on. Say your bit.
No, because I'm pretty sure what I'm about to say should come after what you're reading. So I'll wait.
All right. So 1 in 9 new homes built in England between 2022 and 2024 were constructed in flood-prone areas, new data shows. So according to analysis by the insurance company Aviva, the number of homes built in areas at risk of flooding over the period rose from 1 in 13 in the decades to 2022.
There we are. This is where I needed to jump in. I do apologize, right?
Yeah,
so between but in the decade running up to 2011 to 2022, right? It was 1 in 13, and in just 2 years, the Tories made that worse. In just 2 years, they made that rise up to 1 in 9. That's insane jump. This is why I would like. You see why I had to wait, because you needed this detail first, right? Like that's an insane jump. You jump from 1 in 13 over the last decade to in 2 years, less than jumping up to 1 in 9. That's insane.
And it's not just that our changing environment as well because of climate change as well. It's also when it came to how much funding and what action the Conservative government have been doing in that period to reduce the levels of flooding and what flooding defences they've been putting in place to protect these areas.
Own constituencies is what you would have thought in their own constituencies they'd have paid attention, but fucking no.
Yeah, I know the government. How much money they did put? I think the Labour government when they came in, they did say quite significant money was being poured into flood defences.
Yeah,
but whether or not it's enough, I don't know. But obviously, like it's easy for us to say, is it enough money, or it might not be enough. But again, it comes to that.
All Labour can do is put in what they can, and then build up that funding from there as to what's needed. Like they've increased the spending on flood defences, but whether or not it's enough will need to show, and then they can figure out if more is actually needed. But like again, like Labour need to spend out on so many different things because the Tories broke so many different things.
So the findings was based on the new homes address data and the Environment Agency, SDEA's latest assessment of local flooding risks. So it revealed 11% of 396,602 homes which were built between 2022 and 2024 and are in areas of percent have some flood risk. A third, 32% of the constituencies with the highest number of new homes built in high or medium flood areas risks are in Greater London or Essex.
East.
Yikes.
Southeast.
The data also shows that by 2050, 1 in 7, that's 15% of the homes built during the period will be at high or medium risk of flooding, and almost a third, 30%, will face some kind of weather worsens. I keep seeing my screen.
Yeah, you're
Flashing
the
up.
one glitching now. That's
Is it?
strange.
I'm not having any internet.
I said you've been
Dear.
glitching a little
Is
bit.
it because of this? It might be because of Sky News there.
Maybe.
All right, let me try and run through this a little bit for you. Got cross fingers. It's not too much. Yeah, if you guys can't hear me, let me know in the chat. By the way, just for reference. It comes amid a period of extensive rainfall in the UK that could see areas face further flooding for months to come after rivers in parts of Britain reached record-breaking levels last month. So, I don't know how well you guys can see the picture in front of you here, but you've got here. So it says here flooding risks January 2026 rainfall as a percentage of 1991 to 2020 on average here. So obviously the darker the blue is where the highest, and obviously light brown is obviously the lowest based on those areas there. And you can see, yeah, in particular, and as it said there, the southeast there. So pretty much where we both, you and I, are living, we're going to get drowned.
Well, actually, if you notice down in the southwest, you see where it gets pale right in the middle of Devon, and then angles a bit towards South Devon. I'm right on the point that angles down towards South Devon, so I'm actually 285 feet above sea level.
So okay, so the floods are going to come past your home, basically, but everyone else is going to get...
I'm up on a hill, so like
yeah,
the areas down near the seafront, they will definitely get flooded, but. Yeah. I'm up to I'm way up on a hill, so where a lot the people where around my area are fine because it's all hilly. However, if you're living down near town, it will be flooded. I mean, look at the train line going in Dawlish again.
Yeah, I don't like. I'm just trying to think in terms of specifically where I am. I don't think the chances of flooding here right now are very, very low considering where I am. But to say that it can't happen in the future, I don't know. But there's not really there's no major rivers or anything like that anywhere near where I live. So that's probably...
it also depends on drainage systems. If your drainage systems in your area aren't up to pat, then
I think they've been all right. Yeah, I think even when we've had really heavy rain since I've lived around the areas where I've lived, they've been able to manage it. So I think even in the worst situations, it should be all right there. Commenting on Aviva's analysis, former EA chairwoman Emma Howard Boyd said building houses in flood-prone areas is a future scandal waiting to happen and calls for a change to the planning rules. She accused the government's national planning policy framework of watering down flood protections, meaning more water in our homes. So I'm assuming that she's saying this in terms of, so they've reduced red tape with a means to try and drive and build those 1.5 million homes of the 1.5 million home target that they're trying to achieve. And one of their ways is probably, we don't know that, but it's possible that this is probably the angle she may be coming from with this question.
When I covered this on my own channel, it occurred to me that she could also be talking about the Tory government, which loosened the planning rules, which made it so that within 2 years it increased. So I wasn't entirely sure when I did this, when I covered this, I wasn't entirely sure whether she was talking about the last government, where this problem was made worse, or this government. So I wasn't entirely sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, I don't know if it's the Conservatives who do I think the Conservatives would have watered down flood protections in order to build homes to meet their own targets? Yes. Do I think Labour would do that? I'm not so sure. That would be kind of a bit opposite of the kind of things that they're trying to do. And I don't think that would be it's not exactly popular policy to water down flood protection.
I haven't seen that myself. I haven't seen that particular complaint myself, and I have looked.
So Jason Stott, the chief executive of UK and Ireland's General Insurance at Aviva, said that while he was supportive of Labour's pledge to build 1.5 million during this parliament, it was vital that they were built in the right place. He warned that new homes being built in flood risk areas are not eligible for the Flood Re scheme, which aims to make insurance affordable and accessible for households living in high risk areas. Homes built since 2009 are excluded from the scheme to prevent building in flood risks areas.
Yeah, they've been building them an hour anyway.
He added that as our Aviva analysis shows, too many new homes are being built in high-risk areas.
This is lack of enforcement, is what this is. The rules are there to stop them doing this. Like things we put in place to stop them doing this, but there's no one enforcing the rules.
Someone basically needs to be saying, "Hey, yeah." Basically, someone needs to say, "Look, like if you want to build the homes here, you're going to need to I don't know, put them on stick, put the homes on sticks."
We need an environmental police force, as far as I'm concerned.
It's particularly worrying that this trend has risen in recent years, just as housing building accelerates. Importantly, these homes are not protected by the floods relief scheme, which excludes homes built after 2009 to prevent more new homes being put at risk. Sadly, as the study shows, this simply hasn't happened. So, obviously, in this report, we haven't heard a direct response from the government with regards to this. So the government haven't directly responded to this story as well.
It's lack of enforcement. I'm telling you. Like if this was enforced better, then like I said, they already know that they shouldn't be building in those places because they can't get the fucking insurance schemes. This is cowboy.
Well, yeah, and if you're living, and here's the thing, right? Like if you're actually someone who lives in these areas and you try to sell your home, like that's a challenge as well.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you should be selling your home to the government. But there you go. That's just my personal thing.
that does make more sense, though. Yeah, the government should be doing that in particular, because there's no point having a home where it's just going to get flooded, isn't it? It just makes logical sense. Yeah.
It needs enforcement. We need an enforcement agency or something for this shit.
Yeah. I'm a bit conscious of the time, so I want to try and get through at least 2 more stories before 9:30, guys. So I don't want to spend too much on this, but I think it's not one we've not really. This is one part of the environment and whatnot, and climate and weather patterns, and this is a part of something that we've not actually really talked about, and that's avalanches, Pagan. We've never really covered avalanches here, and I think this is definitely one that we should cover. Yeah, I know we don't get them here, but they do happen.
It's because whilst we have mountains on this island, they're only big enough to learn how to climb mountains and, quoting Albury, go and conquer other peoples. But because they're not that big, we don't really get avalanches.
So while I take some Gareth. So while I take some Gaviscon, because I've got my stomach is playing up for me right now. Tell us why this story matters here. About more than 90 deaths this season, and are we seeing more avalanches here? So obviously the avalanches that have been occurring in Switzerland and Italy, obviously. Explain why this is so important to talk about. I take this. Sorry.
I haven't read the story myself yet, but I would suspect that at least in part this is due to more rain, more heavy weather coming into the continent. Because it's not just us getting it; it's the continent as well. And if we talk about Switzerland and Italy, that's the Alps. Yeah, the Alps have also been getting some of these storms, which is going to make when you talk about snow build up, it builds up in layers, and when you get heavy rainfall or even heavy, like unexpectedly heavy snowfall, that can upset the foundations and create avalanches. And with the rising with the weird temperatures happening, because on some days it's been warmer than it's supposed to be, even here in the southwest.
Pretty obvious question, but just wanted to put it just so the chat are aware. Climate change is linked to avalanches, is it not?
Yes. Well, yeah, to a point.
Yeah, to a point.
I mean,
but obviously
avalanches happen anyway, but in case of seeing more of them, I would say yes.
Okay, so let's have a read in this story, guys. So it says it's not unusual for avalanches to be in the news in the Northern Hemisphere at this time of year. The height of the annual ski season. But Tuesday's deadly incident in California, which took the lives of 8 skiers and left 1 more unaccounted for, and the difficult situation in much of the Alps, where there has been more fatalities than usual this year, has put a spotlight on avalanches and how prepared winter sports enthusiasts should be for them. The two situations would seem to be very different. California has been coming out of so-called snow droughts, and experts do not consider the latest snowfall exceptional. But droughts followed by intense snow can cause problems, and the new snow is unable to bind to old snow underneath, which can either be very hard or non-existent, and therefore remains loose.
That goes to what I said about about snowfall coming in layers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there was a clip I showed, actually, I think on my live stream, actually. I think it was, I don't know if it was this week or 2 weeks ago, where basically, yeah, no, it was this week. I don't know if I shared it on live stream or if I've watched it on X, where I know it was on TV. Literally, basically a skier in one of the skiers in one of the resorts, right? He literally, they were going to go down the wrong different slope, places where they weren't supposed to, right? And he literally, on his camera, he actually fell down during an avalanche, and it was showing the footage of him going in it. And luckily, he got they dug him out and everything, and he was okay. But he wasn't supposed to go down this, because obviously they tell you don't go down these certain areas and whatnot. And obviously, him being a numpty went to the wrong area. And if it wasn't for his colleagues being there, he could have been stuck in that snow and could have died.
Lucky bastard.
Lucky, yeah. So Europe, however, has seen 2 major storms in a week, and a large amount of heavy snow combined with strong winds, leading to high avalanches warning levels across an unusual large part of the Alps, with 3 Britons among dozens killed in incidents so far over the season. So one Alpine resort suggests, yeah, exactly. One Alpine resort suggested the current conditions could be worse there this century. So recent snow has also led to evacuations of several communities in Switzerland and northern Italy, as well as power outages and a train derailment at Goppelstein station in the southwestern Swine canton of Valais. I hope I said that name right. Valais, thank you. But is there a connection between the events in Europe and California? So the first question I ask is climate change to blame here. Climate change might be seen as an obvious culprit for the unstable weather conditions that have been brought them about. Quote, there is evidence that climate change will lead to sharper, more intense participation. I can't say that word, sorry. Followed by long periods without, says Dr. Ben S. Pickering.
You said that right. You said precipitation exactly correctly.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Sometimes I even impress myself. Research associate in meteorology at the University of Manchester and National Centre for Atmospheric Science. So this would seem to be the case in Europe, which has recently had several seasons with lower than average snowfalls and with some dry periods in the early parts of this season. Quote, however, since many factors control avalanche risk and precipitation is only one controlling influence, it is difficult to conclude how risks may involve with future climate change, Pickering said. I agree. It's hard to kind of just say. Yeah.
When you asked, has this got to do with climate change? I said in part.
Yeah. So I would say, I think, yeah, it depends. It depends, I think, is the weather patterns as well. So what weather patterns occur around these mountains will also play an impact on how much more or less likely of avalanches that they would have in them there. Climatologist Christopher Marty told Swiss outlet SRF that the current alpine winter with weather until recently dominated high pressure and several long dry periods is exactly the opposite of a typical climate change winter.
Yeah.
So Benjamin of the Swiss Federal Institute of Snow and Avalanche Research told the BBC that the storms were only one piece of the puzzle. Quote, the main challenge this winter was a very weak snowpack and accumulation of snow that compresses, that melts seasonally, with very persistent weak layers, as you pointed out, caused by long periods without new snow and low temperatures, he said there. While global warming affects weather patterns, the temperature itself could also have a direct impact on avalanches. According to US Northern Rocky Mountain Science Center, wet snow avalanches, which are likely to become more frequent as temperatures rise, are dangerous. It's difficult to predict and relatively poorly understood compared with dry snow equivalent there.
For example, wet snow. Wet snow is what you know when British people try to do that thing that Americans and Canadians do, where they launch themselves into the snow thinking it's all powdery and it's not. It's rock fucking hard. That's the difference between dry ice, like the dry ice, dry snow, and wet snow. Like we get wet snow more often, whereas in America, the reason why you see people like into powdery snow is because that is dry snow.
Yeah, because it's a lot colder, and they don't get snow and rain combo as much as we do here. And I think it's probably fair to say probably people up in Scotland experience it a lot more because they get a lot more. People up in Scotland more than anyone, anyone on these isles get it more because they get more rainfall than we do in our parts. Excuse me, I think that's fair to say. Where was I? Wet snow avalanches? Or did I just say that bit?
Yeah.
Wet snow avalanches are caused by weakening in the strength of the snowpack, often triggered by rain, abundant sunshine, or warm temperatures. The center says in an article on wet snow avalanche research, adding their frequency was expected to increase with the changing temperatures. A 2021 research paper in the journal Frontiers in Physiology. I'm going to finish on this bit, guys, just based on time here. Suggests wetter and warmer snow may also adversely affect a person's chances of surviving an avalanche, while thinner snow cover may increase the risk of blunt trauma injuries. So yeah, there's a chance that someone, depending on what avalanches you may get,
skiing's going to get a lot more dangerous. It's going to remain being more dangerous, in part because of climate change.
Yeah, and this is where the importance of the experts who know and understand these things make it much more clearer and I mean, they're already doing this, but they need to be more firmer with tourists and whatnot when they come to these resorts. Like they need to be, I think they need to be a bit more, what's the right word, a bit more stronger with their language and whatnot about the risks here, because it's always a tragedy when someone loses their lives, but what you don't want is to see an increase in loss of life. I think that's something we can all agree on. So let me finish up with this last bit. Broadly, there would seem to be 4 destabilizing issues that are changing the dynamics of avalanches, switching between droughts and heavy precipitation. The precipitation itself is wetter snow and snow which is actually melting there. So I'm going to leave it there because I want to cover at least one more story before we finish there.
Just the last piece on that. Well, this is one of the reasons why wolverines are actually having a harder time in Scandinavia, Russia, and in Canada and Alaska, because whilst they can use caves and whatnot as their dens, more often than not, females use snowpack for their dens for their pups, and less snowpack means that there's less of this this environment that they would prefer. I mean, again, they can use rocky caves, but they would prefer to use the snowpack because it is more insulation.
I think this is worth looking at here. So avalanche danger scale, very high, considerable, moderate, and low there. So only small, medium
of the higher ones. Yeah,
essentially there. So it's just like the danger scale there. So which you would probably would imagine would be there. I think that was definitely definitely worth talking about avalanches there, because we never really talked about them there. Yeah. So it was good to talk to that one. Right, so we've got a choice of 3 articles left here, and we've only got just under 10 minutes. So I'll let you choose, Pagan. We can talk about the lost species to be released as Labour seeks to starve off Green's election threat. We've got the IPBES chair, Dr David Obura, on Trump's US exit from the Global Nature panel. Again, we're not going to be able to read all of these, but and then we could finally, if you want to look at China's pioneers commercial use of supercritical CO2 power generation there. So you got one of those 3 stories. Right. We're not going to be able to cover all of them, guys, but what we'll do is what
I'm going to do is I'm going to keep Charlestown 1, the supercritical CO2 power generator, for the next one, if that's all right.
Yep. Okay. Yeah.
I know it's going to be really old news by that point, like months old news by that point, but it's still.
Well, to be fair, the story that news was published in December last year anyway, but it doesn't mean that it's not relevant because it is relevant.
But I think, considering the different subjects, I think we'll go for biodiversity. Let's go for the species reintroduction.
The lost species here from The Guardian. Yeah. Like I said, all the stories. I just point out for people as well in the chat that I have put links for all the stories that we've covered here today for reference. So if you want to have a look at them yourselves, you're more than welcome to as well here. So the headline is "Lost Species are to be released as Labour seeks to starve the Green election threat." So I just saw the screen flash, which is not a good sign. Eagles, pine martins, and beavers in England. Let me just 1 second. I'm going to close some of my pages here and cross fingers that might help the.
Before we start, I'm going to say this sounds a bit biased.
So I said
because these were already planned. These releases were already planned to happen. So whilst I usually like The Guardian, on this one, I do.
The headline is like trying to say, yeah, it sounds like Labour are trying to say, look, we're doing green stuff. Look what we're doing here, and I think that's how it's coming across
in the plans anyway.
From the headline here. When I think it's more of, yeah, as you said, they're already doing this stuff anyway. So yeah, I'm not kind of sure why they put that headline in, if I'm honest, but. So it says, push for good nature news before the polls with reintroduction of white-tailed eagles, pine martins and beavers in England. And as you said, that they were already planning it there. But let's have a look at the cute beavers. Oh, look at them, so cute. They're not so eager to come out, though. I think one of them's eager to come out. The other two don't look very keen, though.
It'll be a case of when you first open the cage. I've watched the introductions. When you first open the cages, they tend to be a bit like not sure about coming out, and then when they figure out it's not dangerous, I like this area. It's quite funny.
So white-tailed
is the one I'm most excited about. The eagles is the one I'm most excited about.
Pine martins and beavers will be released across England before the May elections as the Labour government attempts to the voters. I'm not reading that bit. So plans to introduce these lost species to the country have been mooted for years, but the previous Conservative government failed to get them over the line after opposition from landowners and its own MPs. Yes, because Conservatives don't like beavers. Emma Revels, the Environment Secretary, is understood to have told the regulator Natural England to dust off these plans and expedite them so there is a flood of good nature news before the polls open. Nature lovers have been disappointed by the Labour government after the Prime Minister Keir Starmer and his Chancellor Rachel Reeves made disparaging comments about bats, newts, spiders, and snails, and passed legislation that allowed building on important habitats. The government has also cut nature funding for farmers, is what they have said there.
I mean,
and this
that's a little bit disingenuous.
I mean, the thing about the bat comment comes from the HS2 story, which because what was it? Was it like £1 million was spent to protect a very important bat species was being spent to protect the habitat or whatever. The cost of it was far too high, which I do agree it was far too high, but that's really just piss poor management by the Conservatives, really.
Yeah. I do think this is a little bit disingenuous from The Guardian because, again, you've got to understand that there are Labour voters who might be left-wing, but they are also socially conservative. It's not just the Tories and Refuck that have socially conservative voters.
I'm not sure when he made disparaging comments about Newitt spiders and snails. I don't remember those comments personally, but
I don't remember. I know Reeves made a comment, but whilst I disagreed with her, I kind of understood what she was doing, and in the meantime,
the Guardian wants us to immigrate to, and the Guardian wants us to immigrate to Canada, apparently.
I'm staying right fucking here. This is beautiful, man. I'm staying right here.
They've heard me talk about Yellowknife. That's why on my live streams. That's why they've put it up there. Voters have lost confidence in Labour's ability to deliver for nature, apparently, according to polling. Polling, like I always say with people with pollings, always take them with a pinch of salt. Luke,
it's comms.
Luke Tyrrell, the director of the campaign group More in Common UK, says Britons desperately want more housing, but pitching development so strongly in opposition falls squarely on the wrong side of public opinion. Labour needs to avoid becoming seen as the anti-nature party. I don't see them like.
This is what
would I say? The Reform are definitely anti-nature. The Conservatives are definitely anti-nature.
Depending on
to a certain extent. But I think that's a bit harsh on Labour there to say that. Like, are they really going to go that far in anti-nature? I don't think so.
This is why I don't trust populism. This is why I'm somewhat mistrustful of the UK Green Party, because I mistrust populism. This is absolutist populist language. Labour aren't doing anything. They're making it all bad, and no, they're not. But again, I will say this is partly Labour's fault because of shite comms.
Yeah, well, that's definitely something that's been mentioned many times about the Labour Party. A branding that would threaten not just plans to build more homes and create more infrastructure, but also potentially undermine support for net zero and plans to invest in renewables too. They're investing in renewables, so I'm not sure how that's going to work, but you know, that's what they're saying. I'm not believing that personally. To the benefits of parties like Reform Russia, who might seek to put a wedge between nature and climate. Polling from this organisation conducted for The Guardian found the natural environment ranks relatively high as priority for Labour defectors, with almost a quarter, 24%, saying it should be one of the government's top 3 priorities. 72% of Labour's defectors say most politicians are out of touch with their views on nature, compared with 53% of Labour's remaining voters, and half, 49%, said they want more access to nature and green spaces, compared with 36% of the general public there.
I mean,
again, it is polling, so do take all
half of Labour's remaining voters think that Labour aren't doing too bad on the subject, so come on.
Yeah. Government sources says Downing Street has instructed DEFRA to enact some positive natural policies. So for one such positive announcement, Reynolds hopes to be present at the release of the wild-tailed eagles at Exmoor next month. The country's largest bird of prey has been reintroduced successfully on the Isle of Wight after having been hunted to extinction in England in the 18th century by landowners concerned that they might kill game birds.
And
plans are so last minute that sources at the Roy Dennis Foundation, which oversees the reintroduction of these birds, say the license has not yet been granted, but they have had little information from the government about its plans. Natural England, however, confirmed its release is to go ahead. And there is the beautiful bird there. It is a pretty beautiful bird.
I nearly wanted to correct the article on saying that the white-tailed eagle was the largest bird of prey, because it's not like it's not in. But then they said in the country, not the island. In England, yes, but in the whole island, the golden eagle is the biggest bird of prey. Talk about
I'll have to wrap up in a minute, guys, because we hit 9:30 here. So I'm just going to finish on this bit here. So while Conservative Environment Secretary works on plans to reintroduce those birds, they hit hurdles, and Chris Lodger, a former Conservative MP for West Dorset, vehemently opposed the reintroduction of the eagles and attempts to reintroduce the raptors in Norfolk, from Jurassic Park, is understood to have gone away after local
the toffs. Of course, the toffs didn't
complain that they might scare off the pheasants that they like to shoot. Because shooting birds is very important, Pagan, to them, because obviously they can't, apparently shooting birds is very important to them. Obviously fox hunting is not enough for them, clearly.
Labour's banned that now.
Yeah. Similarly, nature charities were surprised and delighted earlier this month when they were abruptly informed by Natural England that they were able to release beavers on their land with a week's notice. I'm going to finish on this little bit here and then we'll have to stop, guys. So The Natural Trust and Wildlife Trust is waited a year after the government announced it would allow beavers release. And early this month, they released the large rodents on their lands of Somerset and Cornwall. It is understood Reynolds gave the go-ahead as part of a push for good nature news before the local elections. It is a positive, indeed. You know, it's good to see what. As I know you said this plan, but it's
even if the Guardian is correct and this is being done as a push against the Greens, it's still fucking good news. Whether
yeah, I don't care. In this news story, I don't care if it's I don't care if this is an attempt to kind of like say we're being more green than the Green Party. I'm looking at this as no, this is good for nature. This is good for the environment. This is good for wildlife. That's how I'm seeing it.
I've been watching this
from that perspective.
Years.
There.
Next, we need the wolves, but eagles. This is fantastic. Pine martens. I think we went over the pine martens last year, didn't we? Because they got introduced to Devon. And we got the
give us polar bears. Give us polar bears next.
Oh mate,
give us polar bears.
We should technically have brown bears in this country as well, but I can understand wolves are the ones that are needed because lynx won't be enough. But I do like because one thing I do like about white-tailed eagles is they do go after baby deer. They do go after deer fawns, which would help alongside the lynx to bring down the number of deer. They may not be able to take adult deer, but the fawns they can do.
Mr. E, thank you so much for the £3.69 super chat. Much appreciate. No comment there, but thank you so much for that. I really appreciate your support. So, guys, we have gone over the time here. So we covered. To be fair, we spent a lot of time on the first two articles. To be fair, but I think it was important to kind of talk about it. But I felt like. You know, we covered quite a fair. I think we covered a fair few ground today. Like I covered a wide range of different topics there, so I'm quite pleased.
I didn't mean to lose my shit quite so bad with the German Greens. I will.
Well, no, I think it's really important to highlight that Germany kind of buggered themselves really at the end of the day, and it's important to highlight that. I mean, we've buggered ourselves, we've buggered ourselves as well because we import a lot of energy, and we need to stop relying on importing. We need to produce our own. So that's something that not just Labour governments, but future governments need to make sure that they ensure that they continue to push that. Whether reform will do that, a reform Russian government will do that, I'm very skeptical of there. Just for reference, for those who are here, for that reference, who are watching live, and for those watching it in the future, because some people will be watching this later on. I've actually got the next Eco Flake show in literally in 2 weeks. On the Thursday, the 12th of March, guys. So, which is very, very nice indeed there. So I'm just looking at my planner there. Yes. And then, literally the day before my 3-year anniversary on YouTube. So, which I'm going to be doing a big show on Friday. I don't know what time I'm going to do it, though. That's the only problem, though. So that's going to be... Not sure about what day to do that on, what time to do that on. Sorry. So yeah, Friday the 13th of March will be officially the 3-year anniversary of my YouTube channel, guys. So if you haven't, it's already kind of scheduled already on there. If you haven't seen it on the home tab, but yeah, the Eco Flake show next month, it will be on the 12th of March. I haven't put in April's date yet, but I'm sure I will have a look at that at some point. And so just a quick reminder before we head out as well. The round table will be on tomorrow. Mikey Famine, Van Man Talks, and Daily Blase will be joining us for that show tomorrow. I just need to double check with Daily Blase. He's okay for it. He should be, but I'll just double check with him. Drop him a message tonight, because I did hear from both Van Man and Mikey that they're both good to go for tomorrow. So that's wonderful there. And then the next round table for next month, guys, will be on the 19th. So myself and One Angry Pagan will be on that, and then I'll get 2 other guests for that show there. And I know I haven't done a non-politics live stream, guys. I will be doing one again. I know people want me to do one again, because the one I did on films, I think, was very, very popular. That one will be at the end of next month. That's at the 26th, Thursday, the 26th of March. So I will do another non-politics live stream, probably do films again because people really like that one. So I'll probably do that for people there. Pagan, thank you so much for coming on. Much appreciated, my friend. And I look forward to having you on not once but twice next month. So that'll be very good indeed. And thank you to everyone in the chat. If you're not already a subscriber to One Angry Pagan's YouTube channel, please consider subscribing. The link for his YouTube channel is in the description below. If you can, please consider subscribing and checking out some of his content on there as well. And obviously, of course, if you're not, do consider subscribing to my channel as well. And obviously, guys, before you guys head out, if you can for me, please hit the like button, share across social media, subscribe. Check out the home tab as well. We also have a free Discord community. You can join us as well. Pagan is also part of our Discord community as well on there. So if you guys want to join on there for any content you want to add as well, you can do as well. Just finally, before I go, I will be live tomorrow at 11 a.m. for another Good Morning Show. So if you guys can join me for that, it would be greatly appreciated. So should I? Is there a way I can end this with the outro video? I can end with an outro video. Okay, I'm going to play the same. I'm going to play the intro video as the outro video because it was such a cool video for those who didn't see it. So yeah, thank you guys all so much for coming along. Enjoy the rest of your evenings, and we hope to catch you all very, very soon.